Like, it's in such horrible condition, but it's like so cool.
You know what? I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm glad you appreciate it because it is, you know what? It is an old Les Paul. So it's like sitting in the front seat of a Model T. Okay, you know, even though it may not be able to get that sucker up the hill, it's still a Model T.
Yeah, exactly. I think part of it's the age of the strings.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how old they are, pal.
These are very light. I think part of it's the frets on the cowboy cord
Could be.
a little worn down. Your third fret.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one right here is almost completely flat.
Yeah. What do you know about the Les Paul? I didn't know you figured out it was a 52.
Yeah.
How did you figure that out?
They started stamping serial numbers. It's an early 52 because they started stamping serial numbers at the end of 52, leading into 53.
Gotcha.
So
First year for the Les Paul was
52.
52.
Yeah.
Okay.
These weren't all the rage. Like
No.
it was still acoustic. Was still the dominant force.
And acoustic electric, you know, those Epiphones, that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, that was what a lot of guys were playing at that time.
Yeah.
No, they weren't all the rage. It's true. All of a sudden, it became a hot item, you know, much later on.
Yeah.
And what was when they became a hot item? Why? What's the thing about Les Pauls?
So Les Pauls were not really popular while they were their original run. Up until 1960 was their original run.
Okay.
And that's why the 59 is so coveted, because that's when they started shaving down the neck. They started going to thinner necks. 58 was the first year they did the burst.
Sunburst, yeah.
Yeah. And so 58 was the first year they did the burst. 59 they started shaving down the neck, and it's considered to be the ultimate neck profile. And then 1960 was the last year. But they had made so many 58s that they only made a few hundred 59s because it wasn't selling.
Ah.
And in 61 they replaced the Les Paul with the SG body, because it was released under the Les Paul name for the first few years.
Oh.
And there's many rumors of why that went away, because some of it we're saying that Les Paul just was not happy with the guitar at all, that he had no input in it, he didn't want his name on it.
Gotcha.
Some were saying he was going through his divorce at the time and he didn't want his name on it because he didn't want to have to report that income.
Okay. All right.
So there's a lot of different stories, but the SG is the only Gibson model that has never been out of production.
Really?
Yeah.
And they started making it in 61?
In 61, under the Les Paul name, and then in 64 they changed it to SG after the whole squabble with Les Paul.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel anything different about a Les Paul than you do with your SG or with...
I love the look, I hate the weight.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
When they make Les Pauls now, are they still 9-pounders?
In the 70s, a lot of them were 13-pounders.
Holy Christ!
Yeah.
Hold that for a whole night long, huh?
Yeah, right. And that's my argument. You know, you're up there 2-3 hours with
an anvil around your neck.
Exactly.
Damn.
That's why I love my SG. It's my lightest guitar, and it's a 2016 SG, and I can bring it by sometime if you want to try.
Yeah, I'd like to say, was the weight supposed to have been an advantage?
So in the internet, there's two schools of thought, and And some of them is that the weight increases the sustain, so you'll be able to pluck that note. And because of the weight's holding the vibration, and that note will ring out forever.
Interesting. Okay.
Which, I mean, that one was about, I'd say 8 seconds, so
okay.
That's about standard.
You probably now have some kind of contraption on your pedal that can keep it sustained forever.
Oh yeah, and they've got those E-bows. I don't know if you've seen those, but it's like it's just a kind of a handheld magnet that you can hold to your string. You just put your finger on the note that you want to play out, and you just kind of bring it closer, and it'll ring out the string.
Holy mackerel!
And you can. It's supposed to be like they call it electronic bow, like using a
gotcha.
bow
okay.
on a.
You told me that a couple of the things that were still good on it. And
well, the awesome things about the 52 is they use Brazilian rosewood, which is illegal now.
Brazilian rosewood. I
Yeah.
think I dated her. Why is it illegal?
It was part of the 1970s import ban that banned a lot of woods. I can't remember what year, but so Brazilian rosewood's illegal to use in the United States. New, like this was made in a time when it wasn't illegal. You could transport this guitar internationally, no one would care.
I still don't understand why they made it illegal.
It was endangered, I believe.
Oh,
yeah.
The Brazilian rosewood tree.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then so when they had to leave Brazilian rosewood, they started using ebony a lot. The 79 that I brought. That has an ebony board, which it's not illegal now, but it's highly regulated. The CITES Treaty, and that one, I don't remember when that one was, 2008, 2009.
Okay.
I want to say that one brought down a kind of a kibosh on importing a lot of ebony from different countries. Gibson actually got raided in 2013 and by the federal government and had a lot of their wood seized. And then they released a series they called the Government Series.
Yes.
That they put Dirty Finger humbuckers in them.
Oh my God! Damn.
And it came with this letter saying like, this is the wood that we got back from the government that the government confiscated.
Oh, they gave it back to him?
Yeah. After the lawsuit was done, maybe yeah.
What's the gold stuff made out of?
So I'm not sure what the gold
Is it paint or they paint over the top of it, or how's it? I mean,
so after they paint it, they lacquer it.
Okay.
And the Gibson uses nitrocellulose lacquer, which is why you've got these finish lines.
Yes.
That you won't see those on like fenders past the I think the 80s. They stopped using it.
Okay.
Because their factories in California. California highly regulates everything.
Okay.
So they use a poly blend.
All right. So that's why those little cracks are in there.
Yeah. So these cracks happen over time. Typically through like changes in climate. So if you travel with it a lot, you take it into cold and hot a lot.
God, that's what came from a cold climate, and I brought it out to a hot climate.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's not like one thing. It's just like a lot over time. You take it out to your car. It's cold outside. You bring it in.
It can happen that day. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's incredible. You still have the original paperwork too. Like that's.
Yeah, that just followed me around. It was in that old case, man.
And that, oddly enough, that little piece of paper, you probably get $200 out of it if you wanted to sell it on its own.
Just because I have that little piece of paper.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny that it says $210 on the paper, and that paper is worth $200 now?
Yeah.
That is very cool. What do you like about the feel of that guitar versus other guitars you've played? Some balls to
And it
Still
takes
ringing.
forever to die out.
it. Still ringing. Notice how big the headstock is. That's a pretty good size, man.
Yeah, that's in the 70s they were making a slightly bigger headstock shape, and logo, because this is just the logo they were using at the time, but the ones that they were inlaying in mother of pearl was a little different. They were using a closed B, closed O.
Okay.
And so, and the letters are a little closer together and further spaced out.
Gotcha.
Like, or thinner and spaced out. So.
Damn, you know your guitars, pal.
Well, I know quite a bit of Gibson. I have a tough time distinguishing Fenders.
Okay. Probably should take the trip to when you're driving through Kalamazoo. You should stop.
Oh, I would love to. I would love
yourself. Who finds themselves in Kalamazoo, Michigan? However, right? That's a tough way to go, right?
Yeah.
The guitar that you see the most out and about with players, what might it be? Or don't you see one particular guitar, one particular?
Well, I think Les Paul's a big staple.
Okay.
You know, same with the Strat and the Telecaster.
Most expensive electric guitar.
I'm sure that all of those are going to go to Gibson. Gibson makes production models that run 5, 6, 7, 8,000.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So they're back to doing it again.
Well, no, they filed for bankruptcy a couple months ago.
They did.
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen? How does that happen?
So Jeskowitz, which took over Gibson in the late 80s, I want to say 86, 87. So Henry Jeskowitz took over Gibson when it was fledgling at that time.
Yes.
In the 80s, there was a lot of metal players, so Ibanez was coming up, Kramer was coming up,
Yeah.
and all those were just making noise. PRS was starting to come out. So Gibson was dying off. And so Jeskowitz took over, and he hit gold really with the Les Paul Classic model, which was kind of their take on the original 59 Burst.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then once they saw money there, then they started going into reissues of these original guitars.
Okay.
And so you get like a mid 90s reissue, like those are awesome, but
Okay.
like you don't want the earlier reissues. There's a lot of inaccuracies in them. There's just kind of they were just barely, finding their stride.
All right. Gotcha.
But but in the mid 2000s, he decided he wanted to expand Gibson into a lifestyle brand, and he started buying up a lot of electronic companies. He bought Philips, he bought Tascam, he bought Onkyo. Onkyo does. So he was trying to buy all these consumer electronic brands.
Okay.
And the idea that he had was that the Gibson cash flow would be able to allow them to innovate with these and then establish kind of this all-around brand.
Okay.
And the cash flow didn't really sustain because guitars have been on the decline since then. You saw in 2008 there was the retail crash. Well, there was the economic crash, which hit retail really hard. And guitars haven't really come back from that, and a lot of kids now are into electronic things, pads and keys.
Yep.
And so guitars kind of, not that it's dead, it's not gonna die.
Right.
But it's not.
But to sustain the kind of business that they bought themselves into with all of the subsidiaries they were trying to support.
Yeah.
The Gibson guitar sales weren't supporting.
Weren't there, yeah.
And then the bottom line wasn't happening. If it stayed with only guitars and stayed a little smaller, it might have been able to withstand the
it'd have
storm
been fine.
there.
It'd have been fine.
So are they going to reorganize or?
Yeah. So the idea right now is the shareholders are going to boot Jeskowitz out. That's part of the agreement, and they're filing for bankruptcy, and they're trying to reorganize everything. They're going to liquidate all the consumer brands. The big question everyone's trying to figure out is whether they're going to keep making Gibsons in the U.S. Which like I could see because they own the Epiphone brand too.
Yes, exactly.
They bought the Epiphone brand when it was still big. It was out of New York. But they basically turned the Epiphone brand from as prestigious as it was. They took that and they turned it into basically Gibson Light.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. And which was wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can take your biggest and most grandest Toyota, and then all of a sudden, because the Lexus is a thing, all of a sudden nobody wants it anymore.
Yeah.
I think Epiphone should have stayed in their own. Like, okay, you got your Chrysler here, your Plymouth here, and your Dodge. Everybody's got their, but all of a sudden, right? Epiphone became like, okay, we're gonna put them underneath Gibson now. Here's our main brand, and Epiphone's now number 2 guy.
Yeah.
It was a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna sell you Epiphone, but for a few hundred more, you can get a Gibson. That's not the way we looked at it before.
Yeah.
There were some great Epiphone guitars back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Those hollow body Epiphones.
The Sheridans, yeah.
That was the
casino.
The go-to, man, for some of those guys. You don't see people playing those things anymore. They got a great sound for jazz, guys like Herb Ellis and guys like that played those hollow bodies were phenomenal. But you're right. I never thought about that. Guitars, just kids nowadays into electronics, into keys, and now and plus, hey, it ain't easy to play the guitar.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to learn keys now just because, I've always liked the sound of piano.
Yeah, of course.
I really enjoy it. So I bought a little digital console piano.
Okay.
Well, it's full size, 88 key.
All right. Well, it's a good place to learn.
Yeah.
Is it weighted? Are the keys weighted?
Weighted action.
All right.
Spent about $1,000 on it,
All
and I'm just doing like software lessons, and like they kind of help me, and they kind of hurt me in a sense, because like I don't know, I like learning scales. I like learning like patterns, like, because patterns repeat, and you can take patterns and you can put them in different pieces of music. Like, to me, music isn't like finite.
No.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, and everything on piano, it's like they want it to be finite in a sense, because like they put that exactly, and it's like, yeah, but you got to throw in a little bit of improvisation underneath. You got a little flavor.
The creativity in the field is what music is about.
Yeah.
And people that, my students that come in here, singers, actors, whatever, say you've got to think above and beyond. You got to think out of the box.
Yeah.
And bring new things to it. You can. I mean, I love the fact that my fingers could go on the fingerboard and I'll come up with a chord. I have no idea what it is, but I like the way it sounds, and I'll write it and put it into a song. And I'll call my keyboard player and say, okay, I got my index fingers on an E, and and he'll go, oh, you're playing a blah blah blah. And I go, okay, I write it down that way.
Yeah.
And I go, but I love the creativity of it. It's the idea that it's not finite. It doesn't have to be finite.
Yeah.
Because when we if we say that things are finite, then everything stops, man. There's no movement. There's no, look what he did. There's no new people under the sun that come out and go, God, what he does with that makes me want to go burn my guitar.
Yeah.
I just, every now and then, I'll see somebody will turn me on to somebody on the internet. I'll go, damn, that guy's good. In whatever genre, a lot of some country pickers I'm seeing now going, damn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shit.
And I think that's a mark of someone that appreciates music, because like you listen to my iPod and it'll go everywhere, it'll go to country, it'll go to rap too.
Sure.
And like I've noticed people that are like, oh no, I only like this one genre. Like I'm like, you don't like music.
No.
Like
you don't.
You just find that tolerable.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, what did it for me was not having to, but when I began teaching, because students would come in that wanted to learn, all kinds of music. And I'll be very honest with you, I was kind of in a little corner here with the stuff that I performed and what I played. And they would come in and they would give me names of these new bands, and I would, one guy came in and said, Mr. Williams, I want to learn some Train songs. I said, oh, that's great, Train, like the Wreck of the Old 97 and the Wabash Cannonball. Shit, I love Train songs. No, it's a group called Train. I'm going, here's a kid after my own heart. Little Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison. I'm all over that.
Yeah.
No, not that kind of Train. There's a group called, thank you. So it started. It was strictly something that was practical.
Yeah. That's And you don't hear that very often with
No.
parents that are like, oh yeah, I want my kids to be a musician.
Yeah, I wanted to play piano and go to Carnegie Hall, but not my dad. My dad was, no, I don't expect that. Just play good enough to get a little wedding band, make $20 extra on the weekends.
Yeah.